So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about drop, what it is, pros and cons of it, some key things you want to know, some tips and tricks, and how you can get started in making money with dropshipping as a complete beginner. Even if you know about dropshipping, this video could still help you learn some new things that you may or may not have known. So we got to go over the basics of what is dropshipping is a retail fulfillment method where a store doesn't have to keep the products they're selling in stock. So when the store sells the product, when a customer buys the product from that store, the store then purchases from a third party, which ships it to their customers, and then the store gets the difference in the price. So basically how it goes is your customers place an order online, your store, e-com store, automatically processes that and places the order on the third party app, which is your supplier. Your supplier then prepares the order and then it ships it to your customers directly. So you don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is make sure you find the right supplier and collect payment. That's it. So some key things that you should know when dropshipping is that you don't, like I said before, you don't have to have any product in stock. And the product is purchased from a manufacturer or a supplier and shipped directly to your customers. So you won't have to get it and then ship it. It goes directly to your customer. So what are the pros and cons of drop shipping? So some pros are that less capital is required. You don't need that much money to start. It's easy to get started. All you really need to know how to do is set up a Shopify store, which there's millions of YouTube videos out there teaching you how to. In like 15 minutes, you can set up a store. It's low overhead, so it's like less expensive than other methods like Amazon FBA and other stuff. It's flexible location, so you can run your own dropshipping business from anywhere in the world, even while you're traveling. There are a wild selection of products to sell because there's like many suppliers. You could go to Alibaba or AliExpress and find millions of suppliers there. It's easier to test, easier to see which products will attract more customers. Then you can then make that product like kind of your own and build a brand around it. And lastly, it's easier to scale. You can easily scale and grow like really high and actually make the product your own and move to an e-com store. So what are the cons? The cons are low profit margin. So you still have to pay the supplier that you're taking the product from and giving to your customers. So let's say the product costs $10 and you charge $20. You have to give $10 to the supplier, so your profit will be only $10. There are inventory issues. So sometimes you could come into argument with your manufacturer, or the manufacturer may be out of stock without notice, or something might happen overseas and you may not be aware of it, and your business will go crashing down. There might be shipping complexes. The cost of shipping might be higher in some places than others, and you may not know, and you'll be losing money for that. And also, there might have a new year, and you're not aware of that. There's limited customization and branding, so you can't just put your own logo on the product because it's not you who's manufacturing it or who's actually buying it. You're just shipping it straight to your customers from your manufacturer, so you can't really brand it and make it your own. So how do you make money with dropshipping? Well, like I said before, you take the product, the price of the product, then you add the profit that you want. So like I said, the product costs $10, and let's say you want a profit of $10 for that product. You'll add another 10, so the product will cost $20 in your store. So when someone buys it, you send $10 to the supplier, $10 goes to you as profit. And you also want to add the cost of shipping, because shipping does have a cost when you ship it to different countries. So how much money do you actually need to start drop shipping? Well, it's recommended that you have anywhere from $500 to $1,000 when starting drop shipping, just so that you can test multiple products, use ads as well to quickly see results and see which ones are working. You don't actually need 500. You could actually start with $100, but you'll have to be lucky to find a winning product that actually works in the market. So the costs of things that you might need to worry about is the online store that you're going to use. So let's say you're using Shopify, which is what most dropshippers are using. That would cost about $25 a month. Then a domain name can cost anywhere from $5 to $20 a year. And then ads can cost anywhere, from like $5 to $500, depending how much you want to spend. People usually spend $100 when testing products. So you might be wondering, how do I build my website? What platform do I use? You use a website builder called Shopify. So if you just enter shopify.com in your search bar on Google, it'll show you Shopify. It's completely free. Um, when for you to for a 14-day free trial, I'm pretty sure. You don't need to add your credit card or anything. You just enter and create your store, and then when you feel ready to market, you can then pay for your domain name and pay for your Shopify plan. So what is Shopify? Shopify is a commerce platform that allows anyone to set up an online store and market to their buyers. It's very easy to use, especially for dropshipping. You can sell physical products, digital products, services and consultations, memberships, classes and lessons, rental, ticketed experience, and so much more. You could also use other website builder platforms like Wix, Builderall, Squarespace, and tons of other platforms. Some apps that you might need to hook up with like manufacturers and suppliers who could supply the products are, most beginners go with Oberlo. It's an app that connects to AliExpress, so that when someone buys the product, Oberlo will automatically make that order on AliExpress, and the AliExpress supplier will ship it to the customer. You could also use Spocket, DSRS, Product Pro, AliExpress, Unite Express Dropshipping, Dropified, or CJ Dropshipping. Those are the popular options that most people use. So on Shopify, you could also add apps, different apps that can help you with different parts of your store and your business. For example, you could do emails, so you could download like an app for ConvertKit on Shopify, so easily merges with these apps, so you can run your store on with these platforms to boost your sales and to grow your brand. So now that I've told you everything you needed to know, let's talk about how you could actually start and a step-by-step guide of how you could actually start. So the first is you want to plan. You want to think of your business idea, your business name, the logo, what products you're getting, the niche you're going into, where you're getting that product, and the photos you're going to use for your store. Next is you want to build. You want to build your website on Shopify. You want to add the products. You want to add a product description. You want to add copy to your website. You always want to think, who is reading this? Who do I want to buy from my store? You want to highlight words that are like important, like let's say it's free shipping. Highlight that, make it bold or something to catch the people's attention. Do FAQs to answer questions that people may have about the product or about shipping or anything like that. Make the text easier to read. Don't use a fancy font that people can't read and understand. Stick with the default easy to read font. Use good photos and good titles. And lastly, pick products that people would actually want to buy. Step 3 is price. So you want to think of what the original price is, then what you want your profits to be. You want to also take in the shipping costs, then think of how much the market will bear, which means you don't want to charge, like, let's say it's a stuffed animal you're selling. You don't want to charge $100 for a tiny stuffed animal, because they could literally buy a stuffed animal at their retail store for like $10, and you're selling it for $100. Nobody's actually gonna buy that. It should be a valuable product, so make sure your product's valuable, not something that you just think is funny or something like that. And make sure it has good quality. Don't use some cheap thing as your product, because people ask for refunds and you will lose money. Step 4 is to download the apps that you need. So if you need any apps, if you've watched YouTube videos, which I recommend you do, because there's hundreds on how to start a Shopify store, you could download apps that'll help you run your business, automate your business, and run it smoothly. Then you want to fill in the details. So you want to fill in the About Us page, the Contact Us page, privacy policies, all those refund policies, all those terms and services. You want to do the checkout page, the thank you page, set up a payment gateway, set up a custom domain, and more. Okay, so now that you know the steps to starting building a store, you might want to know how to niche and find a niche that's actually profitable. You want to find something a product that's popular among customers in a large niche. So make sure it's not small, because that will limit the amount of sales you can get in the long term. So it's very important to pick a good niche where people are, and there's lots of people who are actually wanting that product or looking for that service. So the best niches for dropshipping are health, beauty, home, sports and entertainment, electronics, clothes and appeals, accessories, and more. So the key things when finding a product is one, make it unique and eye-catching. Make sure the product is unique and eye-catching, and also there aren't a lot of clones of it already selling. Second is to make sure it's difficult to find. Make sure it's not something they could just go to their local store and just grab, because then they wouldn't shop online for it. They could just go there and get it for cheaper. So make sure it's something that's hard to find and that not a lot of people online are selling it as well. Make sure it's not easy for them to find a cheaper price. So sometimes on Amazon, you'll find stuff for a lot cheaper, or on eBay or Craigslist or something like Kijiji, something like that. You'll find it for a lot cheaper than you would if you went to someone else's store or online or retail. Like I said before, make sure it's not sold in your local area. And lastly, make sure the price is good. Don't make the price too high or too low. If it's too low, people think it's cheap and it doesn't work. If it's too high, people think that's way too expensive and out of your price range, so they won't buy it. Okay, so the last thing is how to get traffic for your store. You could get traffic a couple of ways. One is SEO. So perfect your SEO, optimize it for Google search so that when people search for a keyword, they can actually find a website. Next is YouTube. You could actually make a YouTube channel where you're talking about your product or getting other people to talk about your product. It's a great way to get free organic traffic. Next is through social media. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, all this stuff are great if you want to market and get free organic traffic or get influencers to market your own product for you. And lastly, you can do ads. Ads are great, especially when starting out, because you could get the ball rolling right away, get sales coming in. You just have to make sure your ad is good and isn't too addy. Make sure it doesn't look like an ad, and make sure it looks like it's casual. So when they won't feel alert, because when they see an ad, they think, okay, they want us to buy something right away, so they'll scroll away. But if you make it look casual, then they'll read on and possibly go to your website. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.